Yeah. Welcome, man.
Thank you.
And I'm going to talk about your Queen's accent in a moment. But when I had a chance to watch the movie. When you burst into the room, you look so different in this movie.
I had a bath since then.
You had a bath?
Well, kind of.
So what was the transformation like for you physically for this movie?
I mean, well, we're shooting a lot of it just on the street and stealing shots and stuff. And and also with a lot of first-time actors, and I didn't really want to seem like, oh, I'm an actor playing a part, really. So I had a lot of time to kind of just basically convince people that I kind of was that. And it's one of the first times I've really stayed in character for a significant period of time. But it's very satisfying just kind of wandering around shooting a movie and no one noticed because, like, no one in it looks recognizable at all. So, yeah.
But I tell you what, watching the movie, you definitely were that character. You embodied that character the entire way through. And you had this accent. You're speaking of the English accent now, which I'm used to, but the Queen's accent, you mastered it. How did you master that?
I mean, I've always kind of liked doing accents. I mean, it's a holdover. My mum is one of those people who she'll be talking to someone on the phone with an accent, and by the end of the conversation, no matter how strong their accent is, she's fully imitating that accent. And I guess it's a kind of holdover, but I find it really fun. But I mean, I spent a lot of time in Queens and Queens Center Mall. I was in the tattoo shop there for ages and ages.
You know how many people are going, I wish I would have went into that tattoo shop.
That's a long time. I kept walking in on people I wanted to talk to the tattoo, to the piercing guy, and I would kept interrupting him when he'd be in the middle of like a tongue piercing or whatever, and just be like, so just say this line.
But I heard this movie was essentially written for you. So what drew you to this movie?
I mean, I really liked the Safdie brothers, one of whom was in that clip, who was co-directing at the same time. I really liked their previous movie, and it just felt very wild and out of control, and it kind of felt like it was almost a documentary, and I just wanted to do something like that. If I wanted to make a thriller which felt like it was on the cusp of the cops just busting in at any moment. And hopefully it feels like that. It should feel like kind of wild.
Yeah, you did. It actually made me stay up later past my bedtime. I heard about you last night. But this is quite a different experience. You said no one recognized you as you were filming this movie. Quite a different experience from your Twilight days, where I read you had to do some crazy stuff, like hire multiple Ubers. You were hiding in trunks to get away from people?
Yeah, that was I used to do that with my assistant all the time. But I mean, the most embarrassing thing, you get to a point where you have no idea if anyone's even following you or not. And so everybody...
Get in the trunk! I don't know who's following. If somebody's following or not, get in the trunk! Did the Uber driver freak out when you got in the trunk?
No, I didn't get in the trunk of an Uber. I mean, that would be kind of incredible, though. I mean, that's definitely... I'm just going to do that just for fun.
And, you know, I saw this another project you did I wanted to ask you about. You did something for GQ, In Search of a Hot Dog. Yeah. Tell us about that.
That was... I mean, you have to... I guess for every single magazine cover now, you have to do these little videos or whatever. And we were initially going to do it just asking normal questions on like some roller coaster in Adventureland. I didn't have time to go to Adventureland, which is in the movie, and so I basically wrote this thing in like 10 minutes, like in the back of an Uber with this director. But yeah, and so we wrote this thing, and it's kind of just a thing about being crazy, I guess. And
in pursuit of a hot dog. I tell you what, you and Uber, man, seem always to come back together again. Hey, I appreciate you being here, man. And it was great to watch in the film. You're awesome in this film.